Good morning, everyone. It is 1:19 a.m. Central Standard Time on the 15th of April, 2024. I have a Catholic, let's say a firearms apologist who has a really good website and he has a channel on YouTube, but I'm actually going to read his from his actual website. And I know, nobody's watching this at the moment, but it is just to try to booster him to get more subscriptions. So this is completely for him, uh, not for me or anything like that. So um, I think more Catholics need to know this critical information because it is from the teaching of Scripture, Magisterium, and tradition. And his website lays the bare bones basics. More Catholics have got to be informed about this hot topic issue, especially with churches being in danger and schools being in danger, just all across the country from various threats. So it's like Catholics have got to change their mindset away from the liberalism, the social justice nonsense, and they've got to re-understand the authentic understanding about church's teaching on self-defense and even capital punishment. So I'm going to share a screen and we're going to read some stuff. So let's go with this, shall we? So, Catholic. This is Rick Barrett's channel, or the main webpage. Uh, it's known as the Armed Catholic. We're going to scroll down to, let's see, Magisterium. Let's go with Magisterium. So here we have the U.S. Catholic Catechism for Adults, USCCB 2006 edition, arguably the most ambiguous catechism, but even this one is, at least when it comes to this topic, it is pretty clear. So, some quotes, and I quote: "Self-defense against an unjust aggressor is morally permitted. There is also a moral duty for defense of others by those who are responsible for their lives. Self-defense or defense of others as a goal of protecting the person or persons threatened. Once the threat is eliminated, no further action is required. In such situations, the deliberate killing of the aggressor can be permitted only when no other solution is possible. In response to the aggression must be proportionate to the nature of the threat or the act of aggression." So, scrolling down, that's Catechism of the Catholic Church, 2006, pages 390 through 91. Now we're going to the 1997 or slash 1994 Catechism, which again is superior to the 2006 edition in every way possible. So let's go. Paragraphs 263 and following. The legitimate defense of persons and societies is not an exception to this prohibition against the murder of the innocent that constitutes the intentional killing. The act of self defense can have a double effect: the preservation of one's own life and the killing of the aggressor. The one is intended, the other is not. Paragraph 264 or 2264. Love toward oneself remains a fundamental principle of morality. Therefore, it is legitimate to insist on the respect for one's own right to life. Someone who defends his life is not guilty of murder, even if he is forced to deal his aggressor the lethal blow. If a man in self defense uses more than necessary violence, it will be unlawful. Whereas if he repels force with moderation, his defense will be lawful. Nor is it necessary for the salvation that a man omit the act of moderate self defense to avoid killing another man, since one is bound to take more care of one's own life than that of another. Legitimate self defense can not only be a right but a grave duty for one who is responsible for the lives of others. The defense of the common good requires that the unjust aggressor to be rendered unable to cause harm. For this reason, those who legitimately hold authority have the right to use it. Arms to repel aggressors against the civil uh, community entrusted uh, to their responsibility. All right, so this is Evangelium Vitae, encyclical by Pope John Paul II, 1995. So we're going to scroll down. There we go. This should not cause surprise to kill a human being in the image of God as presence is particularly a serious sin. Only God is the master of life. Yet from the beginning, faced with the many and often tragic cases which occur in life of the individual's society, Christian reflection has sought a fuller and deeper understanding of what God's commandment prohibits and prescribes. There are, in fact, situations in which the values proposed by God's law seem to involve genuine paradox. This happens, for example, in the case of legitimate self defense, in which the right to protect one's own life and the uh, duty to not harm someone else's life are difficult to reconcile in practice. Certainly, the intrinsic value of life and the duty to love oneself no less than others are the basis of a true right to self defense. The demanding commandment of love thy neighbor or love of neighbor set forth in the Old Testament, confirmed by Jesus itself, presupposes love of oneself as the basis of comparison. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Mark 12:31. Consequently, no one can renounce the right to self defense out of lack of love for life for self. There can only be done in the virtue of heroic love, which deepens and transfigures the love of self into the radical self offering, according to the spirit of the Gospel's Beatitudes, Matthew 5:38 through 40. The sublime example of the self offering is the Lord Jesus. Moreover, legitimate self defense can be not only a right but a grave duty for someone responsible for another's life, the common good of the family or the state. Unfortunately, it happens that the need to render the aggressor incapable of causing harm sometimes involves taking his life. In this case, the fatal outcome is attributable to the aggressors whose action brought it about, even though he may not be morally responsible, become of a lack of use of reason. Gilliam Vitae. Now, here we go. Catechism of St. Pius X, 1905. Pretty clear cut catechism right here. I actually have this one, and uh, It's a good follow to Baltimore, which we'll get to. Question three: are there cases in which it is lawful to kill? A. Answer: it is lawful to kill when fighting in a just war, when carrying out by order of the supreme authority a sentence of death in punishment of a crime, and finally, in cases of necessary and lawful defense of one's own life against an unjust aggressor. Boom. That kills two birds with one stone right there. Authorizes the legitimate use of the death penalty, Francis, and it also uh, says that there are times for a just war, and obviously, a person can responsibly defend one's own life if threatened. Baltimore Catechism, 1891. So this is what, you know, 15 years, 14 years uh, after or before Pius X's Catechism. So question 1276: under what circumstances may human life be lawfully taken? A. Answer: human life may be lawfully taken, one, in self-defense, when the unjust, when we are unjustly attacked and have no other means of saving our own lives. Unquote. Short and sweet, to the point. Boom. Scrolling down, the Douay Catechism, which is slightly after question. Yeah, the Douay Catechism, 1649 AD, question 484. Is it not lawful to kill in any cause? Answer: yes, in a just war or when a public justice requires it, for the magistrate beareth not the sword without cause. Romans 1:4. As also the blameless defense of their own or the innocent neighbor's life against an unjust invader. The Douay Catechism was written by Henry Tubinville. So now we're scrolling down. Now we're getting into probably the most authoritative catechism recognized by the Catholic Church, at least, those who are not stuck within the 20th century. The Catechism of the Council of Trent, issued 1566 AD, so almost 500 years ago. Quote, and I quote, short and sweet and beautiful, to the point. Yeah. If a man kill another in self defense, having used every means consistent with his own safety to avoid the infliction of death, he evidently does not violate this commandment. Boom. Right there. Again, that's the Magisterium officially from, you know, even if you want to go post conciliar era and stick with JB2 and, the 97 catechism and to a lesser extent the 2006 catechism, it says the same exact thing. So the bishops need to actually act on this and, allow churches and schools to be armed basically. Uh, you got to start hardening our soft spots in society because that's where unfortunately a lot of crime is happening. So it's just how I feel about the situation. I'm also just trying to give some free attention to the armed Catholic Rick Barrett. I occasionally listen to some of his stuff on the View from the Pew channel with Steve Cunningham, and uh, you know occasionally try to watch his videos when he was still doing his other stuff. So let's see. Scripture as abundant. Let's see. Saint Gabriel of Our Lady of Sorrows, or Saint Gabriel Persendi. This is a cool story. Every Catholic should know this story. So Saint Gabriel Bassendi. Let's see. Yeah. All right. One could not imagine a more unlikely person to be honored as the patron of marksmen than a humble and gentle Saint Gabriel Presendi, also called by Pope Benedict the 15th, not the 16th, who canonized him, the patron saint of the youth. He was given this latter title because he died at a tender age of 24. How he earned the former, we shall explain. It is somewhat a surprise to discover that the annals of his life, a unique and almost humorous event that has earned him the title patron of marksmen. During the Masonic Revolution that sweeping the Papal States in 1860, bands of brigades were somewhat loosely attached to the army of uh, the Garibaldi, were raiding the villagers of their path, looking for plunder, food, and satisfaction for their own unlawful desires. The superior of the Passionist monastery ordered that the place locked and sent all the brothers to the chapel to pray that God deliver the town from the reign of terror. After prayer, Brother Gabriel asked for and received permission to go into the town alone to see what he could do to help. At his arrival, he found that many homes already had been plundered and set afire, and there were bands of drunken soldiers, hollering and looting and brandishing their pistols. The scene of anarchy was enough to arouse just anger in the gentlest heart. As he was surveying the horrible scene, Gabriel heard the screams of a young woman being dragged from the home by a drunk soldier, and he quickly ran to her aid and, grabbing a pistol from the holster of her assailant, ordered that he leave the town at once, taking all the others with him. Almost immediately, a second soldier was commanded to drop his weapons, which the astonished the brigade did at once, and the cries of the two captives soon brought the sergeant and several other members of his detachment, seeing the monks, now armed with two pistols, uh, obviously in no mood to dialogue. The marauders slowly gathered in front of him, keeping their hands on the pistol grip in case any trouble required the use of them. They uh, they were certain that this boy monk would be no problem for them, the mighty army of the Republic. The sergeant made a sarcastic remark about a young monk, thinking that he could stop a whole armed company. But Gabriel merely smiled and told them to lay down their arms so that no one be harmed. Suddenly, a small lizard darted into the street from a secret hiding place some yards away. Instantly, Gabriel Hunting's instincts returned, and without even so much a casual aim, the young monk severed the reptile's head with one perfect shot from the pistol. Again, he repeated his request for the men to disarm, a request they fulfilled without further comment. The saintly young brother then demanded that they put out the fire they had started, empty their sacks and pockets of all the loot, and march out, all of them, to the end to the end of the town. Saint Gabriel escorted them personally, no doubt astonishing them for their misdeeds of all the while. It is clear that Saint Gabriel, of the most sorrowful Virgin, did not hesitate to use his earthly talents to humble the enemies of the church, thereby to be God's answer to his own prayer for his chivalry in defense of a lady, and for his patriotism in defense of the village. And to his own embarrassment, the grateful townsfolk escorted the monk with prayers and chanting back to the monastery. 2 short years later, he would be accompanied by his the only true lady to the celestial mansion, with the sound of an angel voices ringing in their ears. It is alleged against me. Yeah, it is alleged against me, and with the perfect truth, that I have stopped on the way to drink a glass of milk in one shop and to buy a revolver with cartridges in another. Some have seen that these as a singular wedding presents for a bridegroom to give to himself, and the bride had known less of them. I suppose she might have fancied that he was a suicide or a murderer, or worst of all, a teeter toddler. They seem to me the most natural things in the world. I did not buy the pistol to murder myself or my wife. I never was very modern. I bought it because it was the great adventure of my youth, with the general notion of protecting her from the pirates doubtless infesting Norfolk. Broads to which we were bound, where, after all, there are still a suspiciously large number of families and with Danish names. I shall not be annoyed if it shall be called childish, but obviously it was rather reminiscent of boyhood and not childhood. G.K. Chesterton autobiography, pages 45 or 44 through 45. So, pretty good. Let's see. Let's see. Any of you guys want to contact Rick Barrett to, give a talk or something? He has his contact information up here. If you have a question to him, just email him. Uh, Number I will let you guys look up for yourself. So, and if you have questions, again, to that to him right there. Let's see. Back at work. There we go. Back at work. Let's see. Scripture. Actually, obviously, you're going to find a lot of the self defense scriptures from the Old Testament. Books like Exodus 22. Let's see. This one right here, Exodus 22, verses 2 through 3. Again, translations can vary. Self defense against trespassers is allowed, even if the trespasser dies in a defensible effort. But if it comes to a light later, sun rising, that someone is a thief, the thief that should not be hunted down and killed, after the threat is to life is no longer present, apprehension and restitution is the correct punishment for stealing. That makes sense. That very much makes sense. Obviously, if you know the story about Nehemiah and the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem and the temple, Nehemiah is a good, strong piece of evidence that a strong deterrent against unwanted aggression is encouraged because they never got attacked because they always had people at the walls with hammer and spear, mallet and sword, night and day, building up the wall. And only took 52 days to build a wall. So armed citizens, not soldiers, were stationed people by families around the city as guards. These were not trained soldiers or law enforcement officers. They were merely concerned residents and settlers. Note that these families were armed with swords, spears, and bows. This is the situation where they were willing to apply lethal force to defend themselves, and they were such an intimidation that basically the occupation of the town at the time had to try to lure Nehemiah to uh, to try to get him away from the wall and everything like that, and try to assassinate him. They even got one of Nehemiah's men to betray him, but that didn't work. So the very fact that a strong presence, a strong militia, or and this is what this was basically, was just a group of families. They were not professional army member. They were not the government at the time. They were just the people trying to rebuild their way of life. That is a very strong, abundantly clear uh, life lesson to learn, that if you look strong, you're most likely going to sway people not to attack you. So, let's see. There's other passages too. Let's see. If I remember correctly, there's the Jesus passage of the house and blundering all the goods, but I'm not seeing that here. Obviously, you have the famous Luke 22:36 passage here. Look, sword, look, Lord, there are two swords. Jesus says it is enough. Now, the two swords represent temporal, and spiritual authority, but also so much more than that too, because Paul writes in Romans, the magistrate does not bear the sword in vain. So, but right here it says, but they said nothing. Then he said unto him, but now that he hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise a scrip. And he that hath not, let him sell his coat and buy a sword. So, yeah. Again, this could be a revised standard Catholic edition, um, or it could be NAB, but it doesn't sound like NAB. Um, so let's see. Yeah. All right. We're doing good on that. All right. So we're going to back out. Patron saints. Ah, yes. Saint Joseph, terror of demons and patron of the universal of the Catholic Church. And Saint Hubert, he was a French saint and nobleman who, when his wife died, became a cleric, and he was the patron saint of hunters. Sounds like a hardcore saints, but and again, all saints are, because they're the best people besides Jesus Christ and Our Lady, of course. Uh, you know, they're the ones that they're in heaven right now, seeing all the glory. So that's that's where we all want to be. At least anyone who's sane and wanting to please God, anyway. So anyway, he has a YouTube channel. Let's see, check it out a little bit. Actually, let's see. I wonder if there's a direct link to it. He hasn't posted it lately on his personal YouTube. The last thing he did was an update on his video, or an update on his channel. He says he was going to do something after Easter, so I think he was going to try to do a once a week show. So if he's still doing that, check it out. He's got his Twitter right here, so we will go to his YouTube. Yeah, see, it's right here. And he has doubled the amount of subscribers since I've been part of his channel. I've only been part of his channel like less than a year. So, but you guys should check him out. So he's got a lot of good stuff on local gun issues, national, states' right issues, and things like that. And more people need to check him out. Obviously, comments too about the bishops when they speak out with their gun control propaganda. So he utterly, completely de- uh, demolishes their arguments using, again, what I just quoted on his website, the authentic magisterium of the church, and what the actual real Catholic Church says about the the rights for self defense and capital punishment. Capital punishment. So, I mean, that's pretty clear on that one. Let's see. Yeah, so we're going way back. Let's say way back. So scroll up. Let's go to oldest. So again, he hasn't been around that long, but I think more people need to check his channel out and help him out a little bit. I just felt led to do this, and uh, I think more Catholics need to be aware of their military history. And yes, like it or not, the church on earth is a military. We are a military. We're constantly at war with ourselves, with the world, and the devil. So uh, the spiritual war is always, and I mean always, a thing. And sometimes that plays out in real life. Oh, here we go. That is Rick Barrett's response to the Archbishop of Hartmeyer of uh, diocese, but pretty good video. He completely shreds the Archbishop's statement. So on, we need more gun control. It's like, no, we don't. We don't need more gun control. Uh, yeah. So again, I think that's about it. Yeah, it's about 33 minutes long. Um, anyway, share this. I'm going to share this on Rick's channel. Oh wait, there's somebody else I was going to show you. Yeah. Let's see. This one is news from a pew. So he's been more active on this one lately. Obviously, you can see the one that he posted lately was 3 days ago, all about the frenzy of recent politics, the eclipse, and what's going on in the world, things like that. Him and Steve Cunningham are on this channel, and John, and if you're a fan of Catholic rap, at least he used to be on there. Uh, I believe Enoch is on there too, or was on there. I haven't seen him on there lately, but uh, just thought I'd give a little bit of free advertising just to share the share the news and help boost algorithms. Again, I'm not getting paid to do this. Uh, he doesn't know I'm doing this. I'm just feel like this is a good thing to do because YouTube doesn't like us. So I know my channel's shadow banned. So uh, chances are other people's content are shadow banned too. So especially if they're speaking against the narrative. So just check out the News from a Pew and Rick Barrett's uh, Catholic YouTube channel, The Armed Catholic, and you can take a look at his Twitter handle. Uh, Again, not getting paid to do this. This is just to show my respect, to show you know to help encourage each other to you know see each other's sides. Again, my channel is a very lowly channel. Uh, it's very small. It's only got like 310 subscribers to his almost 1,000. So again, it's still better than nothing. I don't necessarily. Uh, yeah, I just I want his channel to do better, and don't necessarily care if mine profits in any way of it. So it's like I just want him to keep up doing his good work because he's actually former military. Well, wait, if he's a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm not sure if he's a Marine, but uh, he is military. So uh, I don't know if it's safe to say once military, always military, but in the Marine Corps, it's definitely safe to say once a Marine, always a Marine. There's never an ex-Marine. So um, yeah, so check out his channel, and I've been ranting for almost 40 minutes. So God bless you, and Rick, if you watch this video, uh, you know, keep up the good work. I know things get rough at times, man, but just hang in there and keep making good content. So uh, it's important for Catholics to know this information and actually, you know, yeah, it's important for Catholics to know this information and fight back against the wokeness of our culture, our day and age, and let the actual real magisterium, the real scriptures, and the real tradition, what the church actually really says about these issues. It's important to know. So And, people are curious. People want to know. So uh, I'll pass this information along to whoever wants it or asks about it. So God bless. Keep up good work. Peace. Let's see. And